Hello guys, welcome to the second video of this week. So as I mentioned in the previous one, we are going to discuss right now about a figure of speech which name is chiasmus. Okay, you will go to the slide number 75. You will find it over there. So let's take a look at the definition over here. You will see that it may be a little bit tricky to get only with the definition, but we're going to cover some examples later on, and hopefully that will immediately is going to help you understand. Right? So let's take a look at this really fancy definition. It says that in rhetoric, right? Remember that rhetoric, we have already talked about that, is the art, the discipline, the somehow field that ornates words, that decorates the discourse. Okay, so this is a rhetoric, a verbal pattern, a type of antithesis, right? Verbal pattern, it means that it follows like a formula, right? It follows like a specific way to be done, and it's more or less like an antithesis because it's what is an antithesis? It's the opposite of a thesis, right? So it's sort of contradicts another thing. We will see how. In which the second half of an expression is balanced against the first with the parts reversed. I know how does it sound. So let's just sort of summarize it, right? First of all, we have two halves over here. Like there is an expression that has two parts. That is something that is conventional, no? That is characteristic of the chiasmus. And the second part sort of balance or contradicts somehow, not exactly contradiction, but we will see how, the first. So it's an expression that has two parts in which they seem similar, but the second part is slightly different to the first. Okay, very well. Let's take a look at some of examples that we have over here, right? Let's take the first. It says, you forget what you want to remember, comma, right? So we can describe that as the first part of the expression, right? Then we have the second part, or the second segment of the expression that says, and you remember what you want to forget. So before going into the meaning, that is what really concerns us here, let's think about the elements. So first of all, we have two parts, the first one until the comma, and then the second one. And then if we notice, we see that the expressions or the words are almost exactly repeated. Yes, we have you in the first, you in the second, forgetting the first, forgetting the second, want in the first, want in the second, what in the first, want in the second, what in the second, and that's it. Yes, so in both parts of the sentence or on the phrase, in both segments, we have the same words, but they are organized in different ways. Yes, and because of that, the meaning is also different, right? So now let's analyze the meaning. You forget what you want to remember, right? So normally what you really want to remember, it's something that you normally can't. Imagine that you have a beautiful dream, a really pleasant dream, but you struggle and you can really remember the dream. Yes, you remember it was beautiful and it was nice, so it was pleasant, but then you cannot remember, right? You would like to remember the name of a song that you listened when you were a kid or when you were a teen, and you like it very much, but then you forget it. You don't know how is it. You want to somehow remember some of the good things that you had with your couple, with a friend, with whatever, but you struggle to it. Like sometimes it's not so easy. And then let's go with the second part. Let's go with the second part. It says, and you remember what you want to forget. So all these ugly things that you lived, like the bad things, the things that scare you, the things that disgust you, the things that make you suffer, normally those are the ones that you remember more easily, right? So it's sort of a contradiction over here, not exactly as an oxymoron, but more like these conditions somehow are opposite. No, the good things that you would like to remember, normally you forget them, and then the bad things you easily sort of remember about that, right? Good. Let's take a look at the second one. It says this is by well, the previous one was by Cormac McCarthy. That it's a really good novelist. He wrote Well Over There the Road. That is a nice movie as well, and No Country for Old Men. That also was adapted to the cinema, and it's really good. I recommend it. Well, we have the second one. This is by Ovid, the classic poet. It says, I flee who chases me and chase who flees me. Right? So I escape from the person who is sort of trying to hit on me, who's trying to be lovely with me, who's trying to have some sort of relationship with me. To those people, I escape from them, I flee from them, and chase who flees me. Right? So I have a crush on somebody, and that somebody is never going to pay attention to me, but nevertheless I am just sort of being nice to that person, or being intense with that person, being too persistent will be the word, and that person like doesn't want to know anything about it, right? So it's a double condition over here. Like normally I reject people who like me, and people who I like rejects me. It's a little bit what we have over here. Then I love this one. It says, your manuscript is both good and original, but the part that is good is not original, and the part that is original is not good. Okay? So love it. This is by Samuel Johnson, because it's basically a really nice way to destroy a report or something similar, something that we revise as maybe teachers or evaluators, editors, whatever. So the first part starts like with a compliment, no? It says, your manuscript is both good and original. So you say, oh, okay, so what I wrote, my work's really nice. It's both good and also original. But, and here comes the chiasmus, the part that is good is not original. So everything that is good in your paper is not yours. You copied from somebody else. You're presenting the results of somebody else, the words of somebody else, the quotes of somebody else. So that is the good part, but it is not original. It's not your production. Okay, and the part that is original is not good. So what you wrote, what you put your effort into, is not good at all. Okay, so bottom line, the paper is not good. Yeah, because your production is minimum, and the only good thing is something that you didn't write. Well, we have a really corny one in the next one. That it's a question now. Well, it's presented in the form of a question. Do I love you because you're beautiful, or are you beautiful because I love you? Yes. Again, remember, two parts, same words: love, beautiful, because you're, right? But they are just organized in different ways. So this is like wondering the person, like it is because you look so nice, because your body is attractive, because you have beautiful eyes, because your hair is smooth. That is the reason why I love you, or it is because I love you and I'm a little bit blind that I see you in that way. You're not that stunning or that beautiful, but then I see you in that way, right? So that is the wondering like process over here. Now, let's take a look at the next one. There is another chiasmus. You will see that the repetitive words are marriage, value, children, produce, right? Same words. They are just organized in different ways. So it says, the value of marriage is not that adults produce children, but that children produce adults. Okay, so what does it mean? Like the importance of children is not to have of marriages is not just to have babies, right? That is not really the most important part according to this author, but the fact that those babies make us adults, right? So how do we understand that? When we have children, we are supposed to, at least, to be more responsible, to be more dedicated, to be, let's say, a functional member of society, to be able to educate them in good ways, and for that we're required to be functional adults, right? So basically, the fact of having children affect people, or should affect people, in a way in which like we become adults. Yes, and we're talking about maybe a Kantian concept. Okay, very well. Then we go with the final one, and this is also really interesting, and besides really true. Yes, it says, love as if you would one day hate, and hate as if you would one day love, right? Same repetition of words: love, would, one day, hate, love, right? Organized only in different ways. So first of all, love as if you would one day hate. So sure, love, like deliver yourself, be committed, but remember that one day you may hate that person that you're loving. Okay, so love, but do not love that much. Yes, that is what the person is saying over here. If you love too much, maybe this attachment will be difficult to release later on, or it will be a complete disappointment if you hate that person at some point, or that person may know so many things about you that when you like have a fight, an argument, like he could use that to hurt you or something like that. That is like the proposal of this bias over here. And then we have the opposite thing, yes, and hate as if you would one day love. So imagine a person that you really hate, a situation, an institution, whatever, and you tell everybody, I hate that. I really can't stand that. Yes, and everything else. So you make your hate so manifest, and everybody knows that you really hate such person, situation, institution, whatever, right? And then one day you will have to be in contact with that person, and that person maybe is going to be your boss, maybe it will be your colleague, maybe that classmate you hate is going to end up being your coordinator in your or your principal in the school you're working, or something like that. Or well, you can even go more extreme, and he can marry your sister or your brother or something like that. So it would be really uncomfortable, like to sort of manifest in such a clear way that you hate such person, and then you're forced like to have an interaction with such person, right? So that is like the explanation of the thing over here. Well, hopefully that's fine. I mean that's understood, and hopefully you can identify certain chiasmus. Probably you have seen them all the time, but you didn't know the name, or didn't recognize it as a figure of speech or something like that. So now you know. Okay. Very well, guys. With this, we are done for the week and for the first part of the semester. Okay. So it means that until here, until this final figure of speech, is that we are going to cover the contents of the exam. Yes, from the very beginning of our concept of this course, and these components, and reading and orality and subcategories, and every single thing that we sort of covered so far will be included in the evaluation. Now, what about the assignments for this week? I am going to provide only one assignment because my main concern is that you have time for studying and sort of checking your notes and making sure that you understand. And for that reason, I am going to help you with that, with the assignment. So I am going to give you, if you go to the assignment post, you will see an attachment, and that attachment will be one of the evaluations that I have done in the past. Yes, so you already have taken classes with me. Most of you, I change the evaluations every semester, so that's just fine to give you this, because your evaluation will be different. So my intention over here is that you familiarize with this style of question. You sort of calculate your times in order um, to know yourself in terms of how you will be able to solve the test. And well, all that. Just basically practice with a real instrument, with something that in the past was a real midterm evaluation for formas discursivas. So this time you will be able to work in groups of up to 5 people. So get together in this group of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 people, and you will just upload the evaluation. Okay. As I mentioned before, I would recommend to analyze what are the topics that normally appear, the procedures, the types of questions, and more importantly, your times. And well, that will be it. It will be only one assignment. Also, please, I recommend, because I know that some of you may say, "Oh, okay, so I'm just going to watch the final part of the video," because I mean, there's nothing of this chiasmus or understatement in here. Please don't do that. Okay, these are the two final topics of the midterm. So make sure to watch the whole video and understand it, and in that way, I'm pretty sure it's going to be more effective your test or assignment solving process. Okay, so thank you very much, guys. That was it for this week. Remember, we will have a synchronic meeting. Remember that we are going to discuss certain things. So please, if you have any proposals or something like that for the test, it would be good that you present it that day, and well, attendance is quite important. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention, and see you soon. Bye bye, hugs.